Holy crap, kid. Take a break.
Yeah, this is your world, bro. I don't even know if I'm living in it.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Blue Collars podcast presented by Simply Hunt Outdoors. We're happy to have you with us tonight. Got a brand new face with us. Was supposed to be with us last week, didn't work out. But Kenny, we're happy to have you. Great to be partnering with you guys this year on the podcast. We had a great episode that dropped last Wednesday night. If you haven't got an opportunity to check that out, it's on our YouTube channel, Simply Hunt Outdoors on YouTube. Go check that out. Give it a listen. Like, follow, subscribe. Check us out on Instagram. But I'm going to let Jordan take us off tonight. Jordan, you got the ball, bro.
Heck yeah, man. I'm excited to have Kenny on here, dude. We missed you last time, bro. You got to tell us about some of them.
It didn't work out a little bit last week. I got all set up and family stuff happened, but we're here this week. I'm happy to be here, guys.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, you got kids, we all understand what that's like.
It's the way she goes, man.
No, it's all right. Well, man, tell us about that elk hunting experience real quick, man. I know you were back there, was that a couple days ago?
Yeah, I just got back a couple days ago. I've been hitting them hard, chasing them hard every weekend since season opened on the 2nd. But, man, I've been doing it my whole life. You know, as well as anybody that knows me, that it is what I eat, sleep, and breathe. I mean, chasing bugles in September with a bow in my hand is what I live for. I wish I could show you my house. I've got elk antlers and paintings of elk all over my house. It's just what I live for, man. So, I mean, we've been getting after them. They're starting to fire up. The temperatures are dropping. We're going to get snow this Saturday where I'm hunting. So it should be firing off real good.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think we're coming into a good moon phase too. So that'll be.
Yeah, it's full right now. So I'm hoping by the time I get out there, it'll be a little bit less.
You're
going to be firing off and hitting the rut full speed.
Yep, coming down to that end of the season, the trees are changing too, man. The air's crisp, dude. Oh, there's nothing better. Oh, I get it, dude. I'm so depressed I didn't get one this year.
Yeah,
didn't get a tag.
Harder and harder to draw tags in the West, but I mean, it just comes down to playing the tag game. Use your resources. There's places out there that you could use, and you got to work for it. But if you want tags, man, you can get tags in your pocket every year. It's just going to get harder and harder, but it's just what it's turning into, man.
Yeah, man, it's a game to get tags for sure.
Say, Kenny, I know Jordan kind of kicked us off last week as far as the term alcoholic. It was the first time I'd ever heard it. I feel like it's safe to assume that you two are in fact an alcoholic, right?
Man, I would have to say that I am to the point where I could probably go to EA, Elk Hunters Anonymous, because it's getting pretty bad, man.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh yeah. It's not anything from last time I think I went up and hunted with you. We both split up to go find some elk, and I mean, we hiked and put on some miles just by ourselves and went back up, made a plan, and that was the time I was guiding, so I didn't get to stay very long. But
I only got to see you for about 3 days. But yeah, I mean, dude, we pretty regularly get on elk. We hunt low point units. We don't hunt trophy units, man. A lot of the times we're hunting over the counter tags. That's what I'm hunting this year. I can't sit on points and wait, man. I want to hunt every year.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Never kill giants. I just want to get out and get after them. And Wyatt, we got to get you up here, man. Get you out on an elk hunt, and you'll see what it's all about. You get that good September 20th crisp air and a bull bugling, you're gonna know what it's all about.
Yeah, man. It's different.
So here, I guess the closest really to an elk experience I feel like I've ever had was for the last 7 years in Kentucky. Honestly, ever since I was old enough to put in, Kentucky has an elk herd over in Eastern Kentucky.
Thank you, every single year. Foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. But every year I put in for the draw to get a tag, and I've come up shorthanded every single year. Yeah. I put in for archery tag, a bull tag, a cow tag, just to go experience it, And during my time working at Higdon, I was right there beside Bo Brooks all the time, who's been, the national champion elk caller for the last few years. And I mean, so it's always hearing him, bugling in the showroom and stuff was just like, that kind of gives you that itch, of wanting to do it. But my cousin actually just dropped a big 6x6 last weekend with a crossbow out there. He got drawn this year for a tag, and it's a pretty slick looking elk. I mean, it's got some massive front tines on him, and it's just crazy. But yeah, he went out there and met up with a guide out there, and they got him on one. So I'm looking forward to hearing his story about it, and maybe one of these days I'll save up enough money to come out west and see you. So.
Oh yeah,
keep
man.
Putting in for that tag, man. You got two guys sitting right here that would love to take you on that hunt.
Absolutely,
it'd be so fun out there.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Tags are hard to pull. I actually work with a company, do that Rolling Bones Outdoors, and we do all 50 states. We'll do the points and applications and everything for you. So that's really cool. It's nice because those seasons for putting in draws and different species come out at different time. It's hard to keep up with it. And if you lose a point, you lose a point.
Yeah, I've got year-round reminders in my phones for when you can buy preference points, when you can put in for the draw, when you can put in for the secondary draw. I've got points in every state in the West for mule deer, for elk, for mountain goats, for moose, for everything, and it's just an addiction, man.
Oh yeah. What I've noticed though is coming from Colorado, like you talk to people about that kind of stuff, hunters, they know about the points in the draw system, but here in Oklahoma, I talk to people about it, a lot of people
language, man.
It's a foreign language. They don't understand. I don't put in points. I don't understand what that is, or it's really foreign to them. So it's like the knowledge.
And it's so different state to state because Colorado, you put in, if you don't draw, you get a point. Yeah. And like those other states, and the draw is totally different. You got to put in for type tags. Like in Wyoming, you can get a tag, but then you got to get an archery permit to go hunt with a bow. And there's just all these different caveats, and it's just it all gets jumbled and it's very confusing. But I mean, one group of guys that makes it really, really clear and they do a good job of helping people is those go hunt guys.
It scares people to like want to go to other places. It's almost it puts a fear. I've noticed like people are there. I just don't understand it. It seems like if I mess up, I lose my hunting license.
And not only is it a big cost of entry, it's just a lot to take on. It's confusing, and it's like, who do you ask?
Exactly.
So
it's like who do you ask to make sure I'm good?
Right.
You got to do your homework. Yeah, you really got to do your homework.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, me not coming from an elk background, I feel like that's the difference of being growing up on the eastern half of the U.S. versus the western half. Is like you guys are born into it. You guys are immersed into that western lifestyle. If you're in the hunting industry at all, you're immersed into that lifestyle from like day one.
Yeah.
You guys grow up with elk and antelope and freaking all these different breeds of animals that you can go chase that don't even exist in my part of the country.
Right.
Like we have whitetail deer, turkey, and ducks, and and the last 2 years the ducks have been very scarce.
Yeah, but y'all two like the ducks, though. Y'all get off on that, man. Y'all. I know Kenny's one of those guys too.
Oh man, I like killing ducks. Don't get me wrong. I like killing ducks because I like eating ducks. But I am a tried and true to the bone goose hunter, man. Like dry fields, big feeder spreads, running traffic, killing big geese. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, back about 40 years ago, you could have done that here in Western Kentucky. I don't know about now. I think it's all moved a little west of here, but but it's still, we still get on some, decent hunts every so often. We hunt a lot in the Boot Hill, Missouri, and, we got the opportunity to go out to Oklahoma and hunt with Zach and JC last winter, and that was the first time that I ever sat under a 100+ flock of birds, as far as geese and stuff just coming in and just doing it right. I mean, just right on top of it. And you don't see geese around home. You might get the occasional specklebelly or something come into a spread just by accident, get lost and need somewhere to put his feet down for a second, but you don't see Canadas like you used to around here. So that alone was a huge experience, because it's like, that Western Kentucky boy, that feeling in your heart of like, you're supposed to be able to kill geese. And it's like you finally go somewhere and do it. It's like, holy crap, this is what it's all about. Like, and it was slick. It was really, really, really cool experience. So, But
and especially getting to hunt with somebody like Zach. Zach's got so much experience sitting
Yeah.
over these
absolutely,
good spreads and calling birds. The dude is incredible on a goose
yep,
call. So like it
absolutely,
is. And if you got
He's
to
been a
hunt with him
guide for
and
many
JC,
years.
I mean, dude, you got to hunt with
yep,
the primo hunting duo right there. So that is awesome.
absolutely,
That's something I've still
absolutely.
never gotten to do.
Hey, we'll have to plan something where all of us are in the same spot this winter at the same time.
Oh yeah, let's
And
do it,
film the
man.
whole thing, make it work, but put
That
it,
would
you
be
know, we could
I got my
make it work.
pit lease. I got my pit lease again this year. I got another permission on another field up here by me, so you guys can come here. I'll go to you. I don't care. I'll tow a trailer
Cool.
full of decoys.
Heck yeah,
that's I kind
heck
of got
yeah.
into it a little bit. They took me on my first duck hunt, like real duck hunt. I've
Oh
done it
yeah,
when I was a kid, just going to a pond and jumping them up and
Yeah.
shooting a few, but actually sitting down, setting the spread up, and
Oh yeah.
it's a big what you call it? It's a big
production.
show.
Yeah.
It's a
It
big
is.
show. I mean, we got to wake up early. You're setting up like 300 decoys. I mean, like how smart are these ducks? I'm thinking in my mind, you know, and like they're cutting down trees and brushing this stuff in, like to where you can't even see the sky, you know. So I'm like, all right, if there's ducks coming, like what am I shooting at? You know, like they go hardcore, all out. It's no joke. I mean, they're out there in ice cold water.
Oh yeah.
Just like, and Zach doing like, he goes out there in the water and he does this like hula hoop move to like make the
Mm-hmm.
water move and
Opening
it
the
breaks
water
the
up.
eye. It's hilarious.
Yep.
It was my
Yep.
first time going, so it was just a whole new experience for me, but it was
You
cool.
guys
And
beat
we
them
didn't,
up pretty good too.
yeah, and what was cool about it is I guess they said it wasn't like normal duck hunt, like where you get a big group coming in. It was a
Mhm.
lot of singles.
Yep.
Oh,
And so it was a long kind of lasting out, kind of a morning hunt, which they said was kind of fun because you really got to play and communicate
Yep.
with an actual mallard or whatever was coming in, you know.
Yeah.
Zach would pull out the right call, like, oh, that's our wingtail, or I don't know what, you know. That's a green duck right there. And he'd start quacking on that
Oh my
thing, you know.
gosh.
And so
Oh
yeah,
my
and it was
gosh.
just
yeah, that's
interesting
good
to
stuff.
see
That's
that.
Tell me you're a big
Different
game hunter
calling.
without telling me you're a big game hunter.
Oh, dude, I'm a big
Right.
game hunter, man. Dude, yeah, it's foreign to me because, like,
Oh
what's
my
cool
God.
is I'm into language and behavior and all that stuff with the big games, and I saw it play out, you know,
Yeah.
right there with the ducks. Like, oh, he's seeing what kind it is, and then calling to it as it's coming in. Oh, he's doing a loop. He's looking for this, and he
Yep.
hit him with a certain
man.
call, and I was like, oh, there's an art to it. I could get into that. You know what I mean?
They would like killing big Canadas because they come
Really?
in, you talk to them, you
Yep.
get them coming, you get them
Hey.
interested. They like what they see. You keep working them. You call them right, and they
Mhm.
come in feet down, man.
Yep.
He got to go on his first turkey hunt this spring,
spring,
right there
I
in
did. Yeah,
Wyoming.
first
He
turkey
did a
hunt. I went up to Wyoming.
Nice.
Yep,
Wow. Talk
it
about
was
starting it out
awesome.
right.
It was awesome, dude. I will
Right?
hunt every spring now. It was so fun, and dude, I've been told forever it's kind of like hunting elk. They just don't smell, and it is just like hunting elk, man. It is so
Yep.
fun. You get them to gobble, you get them to talk, and you work in on them.
Yep.
I didn't decoy this bird. I literally spot and stalked this bird, and I killed him at 10 feet.
Oh
That's
my gosh.
awesome.
Wow.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was fun. I'm gonna try to
Turkey
use
hunting.
my bow this next spring, but yeah, dude, I'm hooked. It is so
So you're a
fun.
thunder chicken chaser then now.
There you go.
Absolutely, dude. I've already been upgrading gear.
There you
All
go.
right, yeah,
There
well,
you go.
man, we got to go do that, guys.
Hey, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
shooting a turkey with a gun is cool, but getting one in at like 3 yards and shooting it with a bow is
Oh yeah.
next level stuff. Like it
yeah,
is.
that's
So
fun.
I shot one with a bow out in Kansas. I guess it was 2 years ago now, and we were hunting out of a ground blind. And I mean, of course, in Western Kentucky, you're lucky to get a 10, 20, 30, maybe 40-yard shot with a gun. But out there, it was just like birds came right in. I mean, we decoyed them perfect, literally 3 yards from the front of the blind, and just let one go. And I bet it didn't go 3 feet, and it's just sitting there laying on the ground. And I looked at my buddy who was filming me, and he's just like, "Did that really just happen?" And I'm like, "Yes, that really just happened." I was losing it, man,
Surreal.
losing it.
Yeah, surreal. Man. That is so awesome.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
I've never hunted in the spring until this year. This was my first time actually getting out in the spring. Normally I
Yeah.
was hanging out at home, but I got out on a spring turkey hunted and it was awesome. And that got the itch going. So I looked and I went to Wyoming and I picked up a spring bear tag and I was
Yep.
chasing bears around up in the mountains up there. And dude, the spring's a pretty special time to hunt.
Absolutely.
Man, I love the
Absolutely.
springtime, man.
Everything's
You can
coming
hunt
alive.
year-round.
You can.
You can definitely hunt year round.
You sure can, and it's fun. And when I'm not hunting, man, I'm fly fishing.
Yeah, that's right. You're a big fly fisherman. I forgot about that.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Anything I can do to be outside.
There you go.
Especially in the mountains.
There
Oh
you
yeah,
go.
man.
Especially in the mountains.
Well, I feel like one thing that is interesting about the three of us here, with so many differences that we have as far as like our backgrounds and where we grew up, what our favorite thing to hunt is. I feel like one thing that's kind of ties us together is really our love for archery hunting, and I feel like let's kind of jump into that for this next segment here on the podcast. Just let's talk all things archery, and I know right now whitetail deer is kicking it through the South. I mean, it is up in everyone's face right now. I mean, if I come
just
home
about
from
to start.
yeah, I mean, and a lot of states had already started. Kentucky started
Yeah.
September 1st. I think Tennessee was the same way. So I think Georgia came in with a velvet season. I'm wanting to say that it was this last season.
That's right. Yep.
So it's out there in the open. It's out there in your face.
It started, man.
Yeah, I mean it is 100% here.
But you went a little few times, right? How'd it go for you?
Yeah, so I mean we've got kind of a unique farm here at the house. We've got about 60 acres of alfalfa, which is like right out my back door. Thank goodness. That's one of the cool things that my we're living on the same piece of ground that we have been for the last 7 generations. So we've been building it up, trying to improve it. And, it's a farm first, but we kind of get to reap the benefits of it being a really, really productive farm.
Right.
So we cut hay off of it all summer long, but then, we typically, especially this farm at the house, we typically quit cutting hay about, that end of August line. So we let it kind of grow back and get a little bit mature for the wintertime. And we've been in the growing stages as far as deer goes for the last 5 or 6 years. We had one really, really good 5-year-old on the farm last year that I had him on camera all year long. And unfortunately, first day of gun season, the neighbor shot him. And it was like, you could tell, like it was just, he was on the way to our farm. I was in the stand, like I knew I had patterned him perfectly. And then I heard a gunshot and saw a Facebook post that night. I was like, you've got to be kidding.
No.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's how it works sometimes. But,
yeah.
So we're kind of, back into the whole rebuilding stages here at the farm. But, one thing that has affected us a whole lot that I really want to hit on tonight is the CWD, the chronic wastes disease in deer, especially. I know it affects other breeds of animals and stuff too, but especially in whitetail deer. Here in my home county this year, especially, they've found a few cases of CWD. And some of the regulations as far as Kentucky Fish and Wildlife goes, if a case is found, you can't feed deer. You can't put out a salt block. You can't put out mineral lick. You can't do anything that's going to make them unnaturally congregate together, which as a bow hunter, like I don't even own a rifle anymore. I mean, literally archery is all that I hunt as far as deer. And as an archery hunter, I feel like that's one of the things that helps us as far as, ensuring that you're going to be successful to some degree, or at least giving you a little bit better opportunity to be successful, is the ability to put out, mineral, the ability to put out corn, to, bring them into the area that you want them to be.
Right.
And I'm telling you, I've been hurting. I don't have a single mature buck on camera yet.
Now, does that also include like all baiting? So like scents, like if you did mock scrapes and stuff like that, or
it doesn't. As far as the only thing it includes in Kentucky, I'm not sure about other states, but the only thing that I've seen that it includes in Kentucky is just baiting as far as food goes. Yeah, which is crazy because you still walk through Walmart, still walk through Academy.
Right.
And they're still all loaded down with this year's, deer corn that costs $15 more than going to the farm store up the road to get regular bag corn or whatever. But so it's like they're all stuck with it. But there's a lot of the surrounding counties that haven't been affected by this yet. So I guess it's still okay. But as far as CWD goes, does it affect anything out west towards you guys that you see?
Yeah, I mean, we have CWD in our mule deer.
Okay,
And actually, where we hunt, where Jordan and I spend a lot of our time hunting in the West, is a mandatory check unit.
gotcha.
So every deer that we pull out of there has to be checked.
Mhm.
But it's totally different hunting, man. And we're not hunting over feed. We're not hunting over mineral licks or anything like
Right.
that. It's a lot of spot and stalk. It's a lot of
Yep.
opportunity hunts. So the only thing that we've really seen affected is kind of our numbers and just kind of like
Okay.
the activity of the affected deer because they just start acting out of their mind. Those are the ones you're
Yeah.
going to see walking down the middle of the road. And
Yeah.
but as far as the other stuff goes, man, I can't really speak on that. It has affected the elk population in the past as well. There used to be a pretty large game ranch just outside of Fort Collins, Colorado, where I live.
Yeah.
And I remember being a little kid and seeing huge bulls behind these fences as we're driving by and just dreaming of being able to hunt that farm one day. And then one day they were all gone. And it
Wow.
was a
Yeah.
big case of CWD. So they had to take them all out and they've never gone back in there and started up that ranch again.
Wow.
It's a little
Goodness.
bit less prevalent, I would say, in the bigger ungulates as far as like the moose and the elk, but it's definitely still there.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
don't see big effects the way you guys are going to see them down there, to
Yeah.
be completely honest with you.
I
Yeah.
feel like
That's
especially with like the whitetail population that we have here, it's unreal. Like you can't, especially this time of year after everybody's gone through and shelled corn and stuff, in the evenings as I'm driving home from school, it's nothing to see 35, 40 does, out in the field just feeding. So it's
Wow.
like the mass number of whitetail deer that is in this area.
yeah.
I mean, I understand how it spreads, as far as like, direct contact through, you know, uh, other infected animals coming in and stuff, but like just the incredible amount of
Yeah.
whitetail deer that we have in this 4 county area. Um, I mean, it would probably spread like wildfire. Now, I've never seen
Yeah.
a deer that had it around here, especially in our farm. All the deer that I've seen and got on camera so far this year look really healthy. So, I mean, I get the whole wanting to be kind of proactive when it comes to preventing the further spread of it. But the other thing is too, we've talked for several years, especially in the farming aspect of it, the amount of profits that we lose and other farmers in the area lose every year from the sheer huge amount of numbers that we've got. Wouldn't that kind of solve? I mean, let me get your opinion on this. Don't you think that would probably solve some of the problem as far as spread, the ability to spread if we were to manage the population number a little bit? You know what
Be
I'm
able to
saying?
bait
Absolutely.
them. Be able to
Yeah,
bait them to be able to kill more deer.
right.
To be
I
able
mean,
to
to
manage the
me,
herd.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean that makes sense, but also like if they feed on top of each other and
right.
through a night, it's just like COVID. If one person's got it that day
Yeah.
and that person didn't kill that deer that night, and it goes
Mm-hmm.
back in beds with that group of 10, those 10 just caught it. You know what
That's
I mean?
true.
So I could see their point, and it's like, well, it's a kind of a double-edged sword because I do understand your point. It's like if we
Yeah.
could do more of a damage and
Mm-hmm.
hit that number quicker,
Yeah.
and just with nighttime coming around, we can't see at night. We're not allowed to hunt at night.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where that comes into play to prevent them from doing that or letting us
Right.
do that. But man, yeah, I get what you're saying. You're just too many stacked on top of one another eating, and just
Mm-hmm.
if you could limit that population control, it would help out a lot. Because here in Oklahoma, I don't really remember any cases since I was a kid. At least in my areas I've hunted or hearing about it that we've had CWD bad
Gotcha.
or in any way, at least here
Yeah.
in Oklahoma.
Gotcha. And I mean, I guess my thing is too, especially as far as on the feeding side of it goes, like I'm not an archery hunter that's going to go out and kill 5 or 6 slickheads just to fill a freezer. I mean,
Right.
will I eat deer meat? Absolutely. My wife actually enjoys deer meat, which I just found out not too long ago, which kind of
That's
shocked
awesome.
me.
That's cool.
So like that's kind of what I've been doing, but it's almost in the back of your mind, it's like, okay, do I want to risk, not that they've got any proof that it would spread to humans or whatever, but still in the back of your minds, it's kind of like that old mad cow disease that came out back in the 90s or whatever. And it's like, do I really want to eat that this year? Like, what do I want to do? So
I believe everything is okay to eat if it's cooked well done.
Cooked proper.
I
Yep.
could be
cooked
wrong.
Proper.
I don't know.
I guess there's
It's
only way to
hard
find out.
say. Yeah.
I'm still here.
I'm gonna be
So my
completely
dad
honest.
told
That
me.
stuff doesn't really scare me, man. I've eaten so many game animals, and I mean, I have to imagine over the years, well, up to where we're at, we've probably gotten one that's had CWD, and
Oh man, wouldn't shock me.
yeah, I mean, that doesn't scare me at all. But
Just
a lot
watching
of it does come
other
down to
cultures.
preparation.
Yeah, just watching other cultures too in other countries, man. Like there's people that eat like I think it's a luxury to have like maggots on your steak in like India. Or, I don't know where this is at. Don't quote me on it, but I've seen
Not
it
in my
before.
house.
It's like, yeah, no.
Hey, shoot. I don't know how political we want to get, but according to the debate the other night, people in this country are eating dogs and cats and everything else now. So who knows?
I guess.
I mean, it's an animal. I mean, I get it.
Hey, whatever.
I mean, we're meat eaters.
Times haven't
We're
gotten that
carnivores.
hard yet.
I love my dogs.
I've never been that hungry. I don't think to want to
I've
eat a
never
dog
looked
yet,
at my dog thinking I'm hungry.
Yeah,
I don't think
Can't
I
say
look at
that
a
I
dog the same.
I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do
No,
it.
absolutely not.
Gosh. Anyway, but all right. Let's move on to something a little bit
get
more.
out of there. That took a turn for the worst.
little bit more interesting. We're like we talked about. We're all pretty big archery hunters. Kenny, you just had a pretty slick kill not too long ago. Really, really nice antelope that you shot.
Thank you.
What I know in your video that you sent to the group, you were talking about some broadheads you were using. Let's talk broadheads for a second.
So everybody is so different, and broadheads are like bullets, man. People shoot different things and swear by different things. The biggest thing I'm going to lead this off with is tune your bow really well, and shoot what you feel comfortable shooting and what's going to give you the most confidence with that release in your hand. That being said, I've shot 5 different broadheads religiously over the years from G5 Montex. I've shot Rage when Rage was the thing. And then I went to those big cut-on contact fixed blades, and they all work. I've killed with all of them. I killed my 6-point bull a couple years ago with a Day 6 Evo, which is a big, like 1 3/8 cut-on contact 2 blade. But I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, and I jumped out of my comfort realm, and I decided to get away from fixed blades and start shooting expandables, just because they fly a little better.
Yeah,
and I am sold. I am sold. Again, it all depends on where you hit these things. If you hit them in the soft spot, they're going to die.
Of course.
But I've been shooting these Evolution Outdoors hides. So it's a cut-on contact that opens to 2.5 inches. And it's not a rear deploy, so it's not like the Rage or like the dead meats or the mega meats. It's not the blades aren't pushing on the skin to open. When they impact, they fold open. So they can't
so it's
fail.
more on the front of the broadhead.
Yep.
So when it hits, it goes back. Okay, because I've shot the Rages when they're in the back, like you're saying.
And you lose
Those
a lot of velocity on the rear deploys, and they're known to fail. I can tell you that I shot a turkey with one, and it never opened.
Oh wow!
And I never found the turkey.
Those don't work on
the Rages.
turkeys.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I've been shooting these Evolution hides, and I shot that antelope that I got at 43 yards frontal, and that arrow went full fletching deep, embedded in the offside hip, and that antelope died in seconds. That's turned crazy. And it kicked and it fell over.
That's awesome.
And you got to shoot them right. You got to be confident with your bow. But yeah, I'm a firm believer in them, and they just fly so well. And I want to keep shooting them and stuff, man. I believe in them.
Yeah.
Which ones are these?
The Evolution Outdoors hide. They make a Jekyll, which is a fixed blade, and they make a hide that is a mechanical.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of situation. Yep. That's cool.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's sick.
I see what they did there. I like it.
Yep.
I like it.
I heard Jordan, you were talking a second ago that you'd shot some Rage. I shoot Rages. That's what I whenever I switched from fixed to mechanical, it was just like Rage was Kenny said a second ago, Rage was the thing whenever I started really getting back into archery hunting. And I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm kind of one of those guys that once I find something that works for me, I don't change, and I don't really like to try anything new unless I
If it
absolutely
ain't
have
broke,
to.
don't fix it, brother.
I get it.
That's my
Yep.
thing. You know,
I get it. I've used all kinds of ones. It honestly, it just depends on the animal I'm hunting. To be honest, like with turkeys, I'm going to use fixed blades. You know, they're so thin boned that you're not going to get an expandable to fully open up all the way. Like elk,
right.
I'm going to use a big rage because I'm going to get that. It's going to go through. Like they're pretty
I want a blood
tender.
trail.
Yeah, and I want a big blood trail. I want that big animal to bleed out quicker, faster, because it's honestly a long hike out of there. You know what I mean? So the
And they're
2-inch
really
cut with
heavy.
the rage works, and they're heavy for some reason. I don't get it. But it just depends on the animal, you know. And with whitetail, all kind of go in between there. It all, like Kenny said, depends on where you're hitting the animal too. You know what I mean? Like if it's not a perfect shot, I won't take it. You know, there's no need to lose something.
It just comes back to just shoot your bow.
Yes.
But man, it doesn't really matter what you're shooting. I mean, there's 1,000 broadheads on the market, and every brand is killed.
Yes.
And like you said, find something you like and find something you trust and be good with it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to try what you were talking about.
Yeah.
I like them big blood trails, man.
Well, it didn't sound like Kenny needed a blood trail if it turned around and fell over out there. So
that didn't have to trail him much. That's the best kind of blood trail, man.
There was a huge push, I would say, probably 5 or 6 years ago, to switch over to that expandable broadhead. But I think a lot of that came from so many. I think some of the hunting TV shows that you see on Outdoor Channel or whatever. All of those guys went. I feel like they went over to that side of the industry just because it was new.
Oh yeah,
like the new big thing that everybody needed to try. But with the hundreds of hours that I spend, watching some of those episodes and learning and trying to pick up, information as far as what to do, what not to do, and research for the podcast too, But one thing I've noticed, especially watching a lot, if you look really, really close when those guys are hunting, they don't always make perfect shots. They don't always. No. They're not always making, those clean, ethical shots that Jordan was talking about a second ago. But it's like, even with those expandable ones, I mean, the freaking blood that gets pumping out of those deer.
Just a cut, man. It's just a major cut.
The cut. I mean, you have a better chance of catching an artery on a bad shot.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. If you aim small, miss small, it don't matter with that. You still got about an inch.
But man, they're living, breathing
for your mistake.
Yeah, they're living, breathing creatures. They step, they spook, they twist, they take them, they move. I mean, there's only so much you can handle. Like my big bull I shot him at 68 yards in the timber. Like, there's a lot of hang time on that arrow before it makes impact.
68.
So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. What were you using? Arrowhead, like what's your weight on that you were putting into that bull?
So I shot that bull. I was around 485 grains. I shoot 125 grain broadhead with a 70 or a 55 grain collar. So do
you shoot that 125 grain at everything? That's what you're running with?
Everything. I shoot 125 for everything. Man, I'm a firm believer in a little bit of extra weight up front to give you that extra carry through. Again, mostly what I'm chasing is elk. So, I mean, if I'm hunting mule deer and I hit a shoulder, I'm hoping it goes through. But that's what I shoot for everything. I shoot a Matthews V3X 33-inch axle to axle with a 28.5-inch draw. I shoot 80-pound mods on it. I mean, I'm spitting arrows out pretty fast, but anything over 50 yards, man, there's a lot of hang time on those arrows and a lot of time for those animals to make a move. So,
right. Yeah. So you've got a setup for the West, like you're a Western setup bow set is what it sounds like to me.
That show you guys on one of these podcasts. Heavyweight, fast, big arrows. I shoot a 15-inch stabilizer out front, a 10 off the side, dial sight with 5 pins, and I'm good to 100. So I mean, it's
crazy to hear
the Western bow hunter setup.
Yeah, that's what that is. I mean, there's more weight. You know what I mean? Because you got bigger animals. Bigger boned animals. You got bear, you got mule deer. You got elk, you got rams, you know what I mean? Like they're built different up there.
They are built a little different, man. They live in the mountains. They're a little tougher. I'm not saying that killing whitetail's easy because it's obviously not, and they're super keyed on, but it's just totally different, and our bow setups are going to be super different. But if I come hunt a whitetail out of a tree stand, I'm probably going to bring my bow with a 15-inch stabilizer on the front and make it work. So,
dude, leave it the way it is, man.
Yeah,
that works for everything. That's
shooting.
That's what I want to get to. You know what I mean? Because I'm still shooting the classic, 100 grain, 400, arrows.
Well, and dude, I did a lot of
keeping
research.
it classic.
I mean, you've hunted with me since I was a little kid, and I just did what my dad did. And as I got older, more and more addicted to it. And I was reading Eastman's bow hunting journal, and I was watching the Hush guys, and I'm watching these guys, and dude, it just took over my life one day, and I was like, I decided
you are
I
the
want
bow
to be
guy now.
the best bow hunter that I can be. And yeah, I am the bow guy. I build my own arrows. I tune my own bow. I do everything. I build arrows for all my buddies. I build my arrows for my dad. I know my specs. I know everything because I want to be the most effective bow hunter that I can possibly be. I'm not saying I'll ever be Cam Hanes because I'll never run a marathon a week, but I want to be a day bow hunter.
Yeah. See, that's what's crazy. We all got our special niche and ability in each little hunting thing, that like we are obsessed with, that we get, over skilled at, you know what I mean?
I'm so addicted to it, man.
I mean, it's legit though. I mean, you think about it, for Kenny, you're a big game archery guy. I mean, that's what you live and breathe. For Zach and JC, they're more so, that whole Midwest section of, you got a kind of a conglomerate of both. You're close enough to the West to do the Western things. You're close enough to the East to do the Eastern things. And you're right there with it. And then, you got me over here in the East, and it's like, I know we keep going back to this whole idea of, we cover so much ground, from
we're everywhere, man. We do it all. Yeah.
I feel like we all have the same disease of wanting to be the best at whatever we're doing, and that's cool things about it is like, not that we're out here declaring to the world like, hey, I'm the best in this. It's not about that. And I don't feel like any of us are built that way or, come across that way.
Right.
At the end of the day, I don't want to be bad at something. You know what I mean?
No. And right. It's like, of course not. Yeah.
And that's why I fell so much in love with archery hunting, was just because it was like there was so much more to it, and you had to be so much more, on the ball when it came to.
You have to be so in tune being a bow hunter. 100 things have to go right before you loose an arrow at an animal.
Yep.
And we owe it to these critters to be the best that we can be. Our bows need to be tuned. Our sights need to be dialed. Our release needs to be strong. We need to know that when I release an arrow that I'm going to give this animal a quick, clean, humane death.
Yeah.
I owe it to these animals, man. I love them. I literally love these animals. So I refuse to wound things. I refuse to be bad at anything.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a pretty mediocre bow hunter, but I'm going to outwork 99% of the other guys in the field.
Absolutely.
So, that's the mindset you got to have.
Absolutely. That's so cool. It's like, across the board, as far as this group that we've got, I feel like that's a very common theme amongst all of us, and not just bow hunting, not just rifle hunting, using a shotgun, whatever it is. We want to be as ethical and as, dialed in as we possibly can before we ever set foot out of the house in the morning, and that's
absolutely
whether it goes for turkey hunting, worst thing I hate the most, the worst feeling I've ever had is knowing that I wounded a turkey or something, and then you can't find it, and you spend all day looking for it, and you try to find, some kind of a trail of it, because you're like, man, your heart just sinks, because it's like, holy crap, I just made an unethical shot, just so I could put one on the ground. And it's a terrible feeling. I've got buddies that don't feel that way, and I'm sure all of us do. There's people, and that's what gives the outdoor industry such a bad rap. As far as with the outside of the outdoor industry, the ones looking in on us is. It's those few bad apples every so often that you get that don't care about it and don't have that same heartfelt feeling, that you were talking about, Kenny, that, you have to love these animals in order to do what we do to chase them. I mean, we spend time away from family. We spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars, sometimes thousands and thousands of dollars to chase them and to feed them and make sure that they're healthy, just so we have a really good, experience and product and stories at the end, but at the same time, think of all the deer, think of all the turkey, think of all the elk and stuff that are out there that we're chasing but won't ever get. And it's like, because of the people like us, those animals actually have a better chance of having a better life because of
that all comes back to conservation, and that's what we all stand for at the core is conservation. And for me, it's the North American model of wildlife conservation. It's not this ballot box biology that these guys are trying to vote on because it makes them happy, because trophy hunting's bad or because predator hunting's bad. At the end of the day, man, conservation is what we all stand for. And man, it's not a right to bow hunt. It's something that we love, and it's something that's given to us. There's places in the world where people can't hunt. And like, what a terrible life that would be, man. Like, God blessed us that we get to grow up in this country and chase these animals and do what we love. So, dude, and it all comes back to conservation. The Elk Foundation, the Deer Foundation, all Ducks Unlimited, all these foundations that do everything for the lands that we want to hunt on. It's just incredible, man. Yeah. We got to do everything we can to support their hard work.
Definitely.
Yeah, every tag we buy, man, goes to land and conservation. Like, it's like hunters paved the way for us to keep hunting and use the lands. Even if you're a hiker, you know what I mean? Like, we paved most of the money to get there.
Yeah. And I know we all get to the point where, especially hunting out of state or something, trying to go hunt elk or hunt whitetail or mule deer or whatever it might be, in a different state. I know we can get drugged down by the fact of, how expensive licenses are getting and tags are getting, nowadays. But it's, at the end of the day, those things are going up because everything else is going up around us.
Yeah.
Like, why should
happen?
Follow that same path, that same trajectory as everything else. And at the end of the day, it might be more money out of our pockets, but, we're still helping, as far as conservation goes. We're still, like you were saying, Jordan, we're still paying to help. We get to have the chance of, that opportunity to chase these animals. But at the same turn, we're putting that extra money into, making sure that there's habitat left for them, making sure that there's, wetlands that are, left unused so these animals can actually reproduce and have, feeding grounds and everything. So, there's
something that's hit home for me recently is, I want conservation and I want the lands to be there. But dude, I have a 2-year-old son. I want my kids to be able to go chase elk.
Right.
I want my grandkids to chase elk with a bow, man. Like, how cool would that be? Like, I want, when I'm 70, to be able to be like, you know what? I remember when they did this conservation project, and now my grandkids are out here hunting on it. That's what's more important to me.
That's I've got an almost 2-year-old daughter, and she shot a shotgun for the first time the other day, which I know it sounds crazy that an almost 2-year-old shooting a gun, but she asked to do it.
1-year-old got a rifle for his first birthday, so
there you go. Yeah. There you go. So it's one of those things that planning for the future. I feel like that's our goal.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's kind of what we stand behind. At Simply Hunt. We're a group of individuals that are dedicated to preserving our hunting traditions. To advance wildlife conservations for the future generations. I mean, that is our mission statement. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, I can't think of a better subject to wrap it up on tonight.
Absolutely.
I feel like we've beat a dead horse here for a second, but it's all good. It's all really, really good stuff. And Kenny, glad to have you on the team. Glad to have you on the podcast. I think you bring
Absolutely. It's been fun.
Yeah, I think you bring a really, really interesting side to some of those missing puzzle pieces that we have in this team, and I think that's it's basically a puzzle here. I feel like we all very uniquely fit kind of in this group together, and I'm really enjoying seeing how this thing is growing and building, and looking forward to a chance to get you in a duck blind out in Western Kentucky, and maybe get me out there on a mountain somewhere sometime chasing some big game one of these days. But make sure you check us out on Instagram at simplyhunt_outdoors. We're on TikTok at Simply Hunt, on all social media accounts. Check us out on YouTube. We've got a bunch of really, really slick videos on YouTube right now. Whenever you check this podcast video out, when you get done with that, go back and check out our first one. this one will be posted, and YouTube is going to be where most of our videos are posted from now on. So appreciate all of our listeners out there. Get ready for next week's episode. We'll have some faces on here that you've seen before, and we'll be back talking about some other good stuff. So thanks for watching.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, guys.